Hello, students. First Hour Art Foundation specifically, but anybody else that might watch this. I'm going to do a demo for you guys talking to you about how to do two-point perspective outside, creating a small cityscape. This image is about what we are going to have by the end of this tutorial video. All right, let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Your sketchbook should be turned horizontal as we've had throughout most of this unit, just so we have a big open space. First thing I would like you to do, as we've done on most all of these drawings, is to draw a horizon line. That horizon line should be way up towards the top of your page to give us ample space. Next, you will want to make sure that you have put in and labeled vanishing point 1 and vanishing point 2, because to draw in perspective, we do need those vanishing points, the point at which things begin to vanish. Now, as we've done before, you should start with a vertical line in the middle of your page. I've had a lot of students talk about how their vertical lines are getting a little sloppy and not quite straight up and down. I want to recommend to you to use the edge of your piece of paper and then try to slowly move your ruler in, and that should help you create a really nice vertical line. But I'm going to put a small vertical line about 2 to 3 inches roughly in the center of the page. Mine's a little off, and that's okay. Now, as we've done before, we are going to draw from the bottom of that line to vanishing point number 1, pivot on that vanishing point until we touch the top, and we will draw vanishing or perspective line number 2. As we did when we created our box a couple days ago, you will want to create another vertical line. The joy is now, if this was a pretty good vertical line, you can just slowly slide your ruler across and create another vertical line to finish that side of the building. As I am doing a video tutorial, please note that you can pause the video at any time in case I am going too fast. In class, students are able to ask if I could slow down, or I give them some work time. So this is a video tutorial from me. You can certainly just pause it as you go. Now that we have the left side down, I'm going to connect and try to do the right side. I'm going to start from the vanishing point number 2, pivot down to my corner, draw that perspective line, put my pencil back on my vanishing point, go down to the bottom corner and pivot, make that diagonal, and now I have my second perspective line. I will match my ruler up vertically, slide it over a little bit, and make another vertical line. I'm going to commit to these, so I'm going to make them darker. And that is the start of our building. Now, if you recall, when we did this before and when we did it with the Legos, to finish off the top of this box, we are going to go to vanishing point number 1 and go all the way to that far corner. Even though these drawings are not of real things, so they're implied space, we still can use the rules of perspective. So even though they look pretty extreme in their angles, that is just part of drawing perspective, and you want these drawn accurately, so using the vanishing points helps. Now I'm going to put my ruler on vanishing point number 2, and I'm going to come touch that corner, make a nice light perspective line, and I have the start of my building. I will carefully go over this line and this line to make them committed. Now, before we move on, I'm going to erase these light perspective lines. That way they are not getting me confused later on as we start to draw some more buildings. Remember, we've been working on the advice of draw light until it's right. So let's get rid of those lines, and we should have a really nice building started. The reason I am not erasing the bottom edges is that's going to be our street. So we can certainly start our street or our sidewalk right now. If I go back to the vanishing point and line it up with the bottom edge here, I'm going to commit to having a really nice long line. I'll go to the other side and go over this and commit it to be a nice dark line. Now that's the start of where our buildings will be, as well as our sidewalk. To rough in the rest of the sidewalk, I'm going to go to vanishing point number 1, and I'm going to pivot it until I get a really nice sense of how wide my sidewalk needs to be. I will then go off to the right side to vanishing point number 2 underneath, and I'm going to pivot until I see that that is about the same width. So this distance is the same as that distance. And I'm going to draw another light line. Now I will commit to that line. And I will commit to this line. And we'll erase our perspective line. And let's call this Olive Street. And let's call this 17th Street. As the classroom is on the corner of 17th and Olive, we'll pretend that this is a different 17th and Olive where there's a building. Now, to make this building look accurate, to see people walking off the sidewalk, I am going to align my ruler vertically again, slide it over, draw a vertical line, slide it over, draw another vertical line, and then I am going to attach the top of those to the vanishing point. Notice how I'm at the top of my door right here, and I'm lined up with that, and that's going to create my little door to get in. All right, let's make a building to the right on Olive Street. It's going to be right up against this building, so I'm going to start at its base, line up my ruler, and I'm going to make this one just a little bit taller. Okay, now just like we did when we worked on this corner, we're going to align vanishing point number 1 to vanishing point number 2, make a light line. I'm going to go to vanishing point 2 to the top and make another light line. While we're live in class, some students have let me know that I might be going too fast. The joy here is that you guys have all the control. You can certainly pause this video at any time so you can catch up. So to finish this building, I am going to find another vertical line. I'm going to go down Olive Street a ways, and I'll commit to it being that wide. And I will then commit to this top line. And now we have the start of that building. Maybe that building needs a door to get in. I'll start with a vertical. I will go to my vanishing point, and I will commit to another vertical. Please note that this building and anything on this side is going away from us. So it is going to the vanishing point, so it is going off into perspective. Now to finish this building, I'm going to go back up to the top, and I am going to create my other vertical. And I made that building not nearly as deep as the first. And now I will commit to this top. And now we have the start of our building. To finish this building off, vanishing point 1 should connect to the far corner with a light perspective line. Vanishing point 2 should connect to this corner with a light perspective line. And then you can commit to the roof by drawing those lines darker, and then taking a moment to erase your perspective lines, your diagonal light perspective lines. And now we have building number 2. Next, we're going to draw an even taller building over here on 17th Street. I'm going to go back to the edge of my first building, and I'm going to draw a line almost all the way up to my horizon line. Please don't go over the horizon line, but do come as close to the top as you can. There is a reason for this, and we'll look into it in just a minute. Once you have the corner of your building, you can certainly connect that top to your vanishing point to the left, and from the top of that building to your vanishing point to the right. And now you have the rough design of your building. This building is going to be the same distance as this building, so I'm going to go up and match this corner and do a vertical. And now I have committed to this being the side of the building. And now I will make this tall building tall and thin. I'm going to vertically slide my ruler over, commit to that line, commit to my last line, and now erase and erase, and here we are. Now we just need to finish the top, and this is why I didn't want you guys to go past the horizon line. Just like when things get closer to our vanishing point, they begin to foreshorten and eventually look like they vanish. The same happens with our rooftops. This rooftop is closest to us and is biggest. This one got a little bit smaller. Now, if I go to vanishing point 1 and try to connect it to this corner, and vanishing point number 2 and connect it to that corner, this rooftop got even smaller. That's because it is further away from us from front to back, but it's also taller than us. If the horizon line is our eye level, that means that that building is just about at our eye level. And if we were to draw a building taller than our horizon line, we wouldn't see the roof at all because it would be taller than what we can see. Two more things I'd like to do before I finish the video. I would like to put some windows on this building to make it look like it's got multiple floors full of windows, just like some of the downtown buildings here in Milwaukee. I'm going to go to vanishing point number 1. I am going to pivot until I touch the top of my doorway over here, because that to me indicates that that is the first floor of the building. To show that, I just put a little bit of a line. I didn't go all the way back. And now I'm going to go from that vanishing point, and I'm going to pivot and make a line about the same distance up to indicate each floor of my building. And this puts some guidelines on the building so you can have each floor. And that one looks a little bit short. I think what I should do at this point is switch up my ruler so I can come from behind. Nope, I should go from above. Let's go about here. It's a little difficult because we don't have a real building we're looking at, but hopefully you guys get the idea. These lines all go back to that vanishing point, but what they're doing now is indicating maybe these are the different floors and this building is made all out of glass. These are all diagonal lines that would go off to the vanishing point, but I feel comfortable not drawing the perspective lines all the way because then I just have to erase. I will jump in and add in a set of double doors because this is a big fancy hotel or office building. And then I'll go through and I will add some vertical lines that kind of break up the space to show those windows. The last thing I want to show you guys as we wrap up this video is the sidewalks. To indicate the different big squares that wouldn't traditionally be on a sidewalk, you will go to vanishing point number 1, align it here on the corner and just draw a line across. Continue that pattern by going like that, and now hopefully you see the corner of our street. Now to make that happen everywhere, you're going to go to vanishing point number 1, and I will start from above. I will line it up, pivot, and draw a line. Pivot and draw a line. And if you try to go equidistance or allow those shapes to get a little bit closer together, the further away they go, what you'll be doing is creating foreshortened effects on the city block. And for sake of time, I will just commit to these lines. You guys can certainly go through and make them all the way back if you want. And if you have extra time, you can even do more buildings. Now to do those same lines over here, I go to vanishing point number 2. I'll start right there, pivot up, sketch, pivot, sketch, pivot, sketch, pivot, sketch, pivot, sketch, pivot, sketch. And you'll be able to start creating those blocks along the way. To make this drawing accurate, all of these lines on the 17th Street sidewalk should all go back to that vanishing point. I just didn't draw it all the way across because I would have had to erase it. But to show you that I'm not kidding, I'll leave that line in there. That is the end of my tutorial, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it works well for you.